Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Ty back at it again with another video. Today's video is something that I had touched base on before a while back, and it might not have been as clear and might not have been as good of a video as I can make now. So I'm going to go more in depth on things that you guys can do to greatly grow your rank inside of Rocket League. It's something that I do and tricks that I still currently use in order to practice, and I used when I was a lower rank to further grind and kind of climb those ranks. Now, these tips have been mentioned before in my previous video, but I'm going to touch base with them again just so I can further go in depth with you guys and explain how I do it and maybe how you guys could do it differently. So with that being said, we're going to go right into the first tip or trick, whichever you want to call it, and that is going to be the half flip. The half flip is something like this. So you guys are going to say you're just flipping, right? Now when you flip, you are holding forward or you're holding backward on the toggle, the left stick, whatever it may be. Mouse and keyboard is W key, I'm pretty sure. So in order to half flip, you guys basically want to act like you're front flipping, right? But when you front flip, you want to instantly hold the opposite direction. So if it's a back flip, you want to instantly hold front like that, and I just flopped on the top right there. And then if it's going to be a front flip, you want to hold back as soon as you front flip. So I'm going to front flip and then cancel it, and then I just flop. Now this is how I practiced it over and over again. I didn't automatically try to half flip and then recover. I just did this over and over until I could consistently do this right here, where you're seeing my car just kind of flop on the side. And I did it both directions until I could just consistently do this. Now, when you learn to master that, the next thing that you do is you have to air roll, and you have to air roll while simultaneously doing what I just showed you there. It sounds more difficult than it really is. So it's going to look like this, and you're just going to recover. Now it's something that a lot of people use, and it is very good for recovery and being able to get back into the action of the game. That is not necessarily used when you front flip. It's usually just back flipping. I don't think there's a way you can really use it front flipping and you know, other than mustying, you know, musty flicking, which is something that I will get into a long time from now. So yeah, basically just keep going around the map and then practice the canceling of the flip. So you're just gonna flop around. You're gonna do it backwards as well, and then when you finally feel comfortable enough, you guys can do the recovery technique at the end of that. Now the way that I do the spin at the end there is another tip that I'll get into here in a little bit. It has to do with your keybinds, and keybinds that might actually be better for you than default keybinds. So with that being said, we're going to go right into tip number 2. Tip number 2 is dribbling, guys. Dribbling sounds very difficult for lower ranks, and it is something that can be difficult if not practiced correctly. So the way that I learned to dribble is I took the ball and I drove it up the wall. Now, in order for you to dribble correctly, you want the little circle there at the bottom of the ball to be centered on your car pretty much 100%, or as close as you can get to 100%. Now, when I did this, all I did was just drive around the map. I just drove around the map and stuck with the ball the whole time. And that kind of got me in the habit of keeping the ball on my car, or at least keeping it right next to me like I am here, and getting a feel for how fast or how slow you can go. So say like if I start driving and get it really sped up here, it starts to go in front of me and I lost control. So you got to really learn how to maneuver and control the ball in order to not lose control of it. So you got to know when to brake, you got to know when to add some boost, brake, you know what I'm saying. So this is what I used, and basically whatever car you're using, it might be some wonky little car that's inside of Rocket League, but each car has a hitbox, and on that hitbox there is a center. And basically in order to dribble correctly, you have to have the ball, that circle there, on the center of your car. Now the center for that Fennec is literally right on top there, probably more so towards the start of the windshield. That would be the center of the hitbox for the Fennec, and it differs depending on which car you're using. So that is how you dribble, and there's no surefire way to dribble. It's just, you just gotta practice over and over. That's basically how you dribble, guys. With that being said, we're gonna go right into wall mechanics. Now wall mechanics is something that I see people struggle with more so towards lower ranks, and it is something that is so easy to learn that it's just crazy that lower ranks struggle with it as much as they do. Now, the way I learned wall mechanics is, we're going to forget the ball for a second, and I went over to a wall. And what I see happen in lower ranks is they'll do this. They'll go up for the ball, and they'll just flip out, and they'll completely miss, or they have no control of their car while doing it. So if you're a lower rank and you don't necessarily have the aerial car control of a higher rank, like diamond, plat, whatever you want to call it, so what you do is you drive up the wall, and you just want to jump. You don't do anything else, you just jump off the wall. Tap your jump button one time, and that's all. So you jump up and just jump off, and keep doing this over and over. Okay, this is going to get you in the habit of jumping off and timing the jump instead of flipping. So if you get comfortable doing that, you could double jump off. Don't touch the left stick or whatever you use to drive or turn your car. Don't touch it at all, just double jump off. Now this is used in order to stop you from doing that and flipping the second you jump off the wall. So when you get comfortable with the jump, and then you get comfortable with the double jump, which is right here, you guys can learn how to do this. So you'll jump off one time, and then you'll flip. Go up the wall, you'll jump off one time, and you will flip. Now that is used in most scenarios when you are either trying to get a really quick pass off to your teammate, or you are trying to get rid of the ball and throw it in a certain direction away from the enemy team because you are low on boost. So I'll try to demonstrate how that's supposed to look right here. If you're just driving, you hit, and then you just drive into the ball and you flip. That is about as easy as I can show you. Now if you guys practice this, the wall is going to seem very scary at first because it is for a lot of lower ranks, but if you keep practicing, just take the ball up the wall, drive at it, hit it, jump once, and then flip into it, you guys are going to be fine, I promise. Now we're gonna get right into wave dashes, and a lot of you might not even know what a wave dash is, or any of the tips for that matter. So basically a wave dash, it looks like this, and I'm going to go in depth and explain how to do it properly. So you jump, and then you get a little speed. So I could probably see, I'm not in hyper, and now I'm gonna be in hyper from the wave dash. Right there is hyper. So basically wave dashing is a sort of a recovery technique. Not so much recovery, it's just a way to get to the ball if you're low on boost. That is how I use it anyway. So say you're low on boost and you need to get to the ball, I just jump, I wave dash, and well, if you do it wrong, that's what it looks like, but you wave dash, you get a really big speed boost, as you can see here. And if you do it a lot, you actually go into hyper, which is usually you get there from using your boost. So the way that I do this is, it's basically all jumping and just holding forward. So instead of doing a front flip, you're gonna jump up, you're gonna tilt your car back just a little bit. So just practice that. I wanted to start with that. So you jump up one time and lean back. You don't want to lean like you don't want to do a backflip. You just want to jump, lean your car back just a tad bit. So when you get the hang of this, that little motion right there, I want you guys to tap A as soon as you land. So you lean back, tap A as soon as you land. Lean back, tap A as soon as you land. You should do a little bunny hop. Tap A as soon as you land. Now when you get that done, all you're going to include in that little sequence is you're going to hold forward on your stick. Now whichever stick you use to drive, or whatever button you use to drive, for example. So this is how it's going to look all put together. Lean back and tap A right as you hit the ground, all the while. So after you lean back here, it's basically holding forward the whole rest of the time. That's the only time you lean back, is right there. So you lean back, you hold forward, and you tap A as soon as you hit the ground. Now this is a harder mechanic to learn for lower ranks, and I'm throwing it in this video because I want to express some tips for every rank that's out there. I know these tips might not apply to champs or grand champs, but this is more of a video based around lower ranks. So basically, that's the wave dash. It is used in recovery techniques sometimes. So say if you're going sideways like this, it's kind of hard to explain, but you're going sideways and you hold, and you could do it like this, I think. Hold on. Yeah, you could wave dash at the side there, and it's kind of used in higher ranks. You won't see it so much in lower ranks, but that's how you do the wave dash, guys. It can be very useful at times, getting back to the ball, getting back to challenges, especially in ones. I use it quite often if I'm low on boost and they boost start me. So yeah, we're gonna get right into the next one, guys. The next one is rotation methods. Now this one is harder to explain because I'm not playing with anyone. but I'm going to try to explain it the best I can in words. So in ones, rotation is kind of not as important, just because it's a one-on-one and you don't have to necessarily wait for a pass from anyone. So one's rotation is basically you have to shadow, you have to follow where they're going to take the ball, you have to kind of predict where the ball is going to go. It's not so much rotation, it's more of shadowing. So shadowing, for example, I'll get into that as well. So shadowing is when someone has the ball. So say the ball's coming at me, right? The ball's that right there, right? I'm driving and I'm following what he's doing. So whatever move he's making, I'm going to follow it. Now, shadowing can be very bad in ones because all it takes is a cut and a flick, and you're probably going to get thrown off and get scored on. But shadowing in any other mode, 2s and 3s, maybe chaos if you like to play that, is very important. So they're driving at it, and you can come up and then try to block whatever it is. And shadowing is just to get you into position for whatever they might try to do. That is all it's used for. Not really that important in ones. Not ones, sorry, and like chaos, for example. Shadowing is not important in a lot of like 3s either, just for the sheer fact that you'll have teammates to be able to challenge. So another thing that we can use for rotation, so we'll go into 2s instead of 3s. So for 2s, basically rotation is if someone has the ball. So say I'm dribbling the ball, right? I have the ball up here, my teammate is behind me, he is not right on my butt right here. He is going to be around half court. He's going to sit half court and he's going to wait and see what happens. So either I'm going to score and get it past the enemy team, or they're going to dunk me or try to get a good clear, and he's already going to be turning around and he's going to be able to get that ball. He's going to be able to take control and do whatever he needs to do with that ball. So if you're the one that's back, so say the teammate's up here and he's dribbling the ball, you don't want to push up and try to hit it from him. You want to let him do what he's going to do, and if he gets dunked on, then you're back and you're ready to go and try to clear that ball so you don't get scored on. Rotation is so important, guys, and I see that lower ranks struggle with it because I don't even know if they understand what rotating is. So basically, it's the same way in 3s. But 3s is typically a little bit different. So you'll have 2 people up, so you have a guy on the ball, and sometimes you'll have a guy that's either trying to go in for a demo, or you're going to have a guy that's ready for a pass. So say the guy's dribbling the ball in center, right? There's going to be one guy probably in higher ranks. He's going to be up here waiting for a pass. You know, you can jump off, go for it, whatever he needs to do, go for a demo if he misses. And then you have the guy that's in the back. Now, the proper way to rotate is the guy in back. So say the guy hits with the ball, hits it. He's going to hit the ball, and the enemy team is still struggling with it. The guy in back is going to come up and take that place of the guy that had the ball once before. So he's going to try to hit it, he's going to try to clear it, he's going to try to get control of it. That's all it is. So basically, you always want to have one guy back at a time. You do not want to goaltend like this, is what I see in a lot of lower ranks as well. They'll just sit here. You don't want a goalkeeper like it's literally soccer. You don't want that at all, guys. I promise. If you rotate right, you don't need that. And in higher ranks, it's not going to end up working for you anyway. So you want to have a guy on the ball, typically at all times if possible. You want to have a guy that's trying to look for a pass or trying to look for a demo, and you want to have a guy that's near the back, able to get the ball saved if they get a good clear or get a good shot on goal. And then you just keep going in that circle. So if you see that the guy that's looking for a pass gets demoed, you take his place, because he's going to spawn in the back by your net anyway, so he can take the place that you had as goalkeeper. And you just keep rotating. That's all it is. It sounds very difficult if you're not used to rotating, but rotation is such an easy thing to learn and get the hang of. And I really recommend playing with higher level friends if you have any, or maybe even making a post on some sort of social media or like Xbox groups or whatever. It's a very good thing to play with higher ranked people, and you can watch how they rotate. Sometimes it's sloppy, but a sloppy rotation is better than no rotation. I know I didn't explain it the best way I could, but it's kind of hard to jump right into rotation without a team and like really good clear clips of how people rotate. So that's the best way I could explain rotation, guys. Now, the next thing I'm going to explain is something that I've covered in a previous video. It is going to be camera settings. Now, you're going to hit start, you're going to go all the way down to options. You're going to scroll over one time to camera. Now, I have all mine on personal settings that I've kind of adapted and changed up from pros or However, I may have heard of these settings before. So basically, we're going to start at the top. That's just custom. You know, it's default, which you probably shouldn't play on because default settings are horrible. I haven't tried any of these the balance or wide angle, but I'm sure they're not that good as well. So cancel all that out. You really don't want to do anything there. It's on custom because I've changed it to what I want. Camera shake. Guys, please. I see lower ranks have this on, and it is so bad for you. It is so bad. You're not going to be able to take control of the ball. You're not going to be able to dribble. You're not going to be able to do much. Take camera shake off and look how much better your gameplay is going to be. It is crazy how much I improved after taking this off. I didn't even know it was a thing until I was sitting in plat. Take that off. Field of view. The rest of these are basically personal preference, but if you're a new player and you're low ranked and you want to just have an overall decent setting, this is what I would recommend. 110 field of view. That is just so you have a really big line of sight and can see basically the whole field if need be. Go into distance, I set it at 240. Distance is just kind of how far away you sit from your car, so you're able to see over the ball if you're dribbling or if you're air dribbling, whatever it may be. Height, same difference. It's as high up as the camera setting wants to go. Angle, not really sure exactly what that is. I think that's where the camera sits, either up or down. I'm not sure. I'm confused about angle, but that is at -3. Stiffness is at a 0.40, and that's just how fast like you turn when you're looking around. Swivel speed is basically the same thing there. That's at a 5.5. And then transition speed is 1.30. Now transition speed is from when you hit you transition from ball cam to car cam. That is how fast it's going to go. And I have it at a 1.3 because I don't want it too fast, but I don't want it too slow either. Now, invert swivel is basically just your camera setting controls are inverted, and if that is personal preference all the way. If you want them inverted, go ahead. If not, it's not really all that important. So we're gonna go straight into controls and button mapping. This is very important, so important, guys. Now, ignore all this. Controller vibration is kind of personal preference. I don't like it because it can sometimes throw me off, feeling that really strong vibration, especially in Rocket League. It's very strong at times. So, and controller dead zones are basically personal preference as well, because if you have a new controller, you don't need them to be set to what I have them here. But if you have an old controller that maybe you have a little bit of a dead stick on, you might need to increase the dead zone, so it's a little harder for you to flip. Like, you actually have to push that stick really far up to flip, and that's just to stop you from accidentally flipping because of your dead stick. Steering sensitivity is 1.5, aerial sensitivity is 1.3. Those are basically just how fast you turn and you can move throughout the air when you're dribbling or whatever, hitting the ball through the air. I have ball camera mode set to toggle. Now that's just so it's easier throughout the game. I can just tap the button and go about it. I don't have to hold it. Now that just makes it very difficult throughout the game, and you'll probably get distracted trying to hold it to switch and then get scored on. So that's that. We're gonna go to keybinds. Now, keybinds are personal preference as well, but one keybind that I extremely recommend to you guys, this makes everything easy, is go down to air roll left. Now, it could be either right or left, depending on how you like to play the game. I set my air roll left to left bumper, which is LB. Now, the reason I did that is because a lot of the techniques that I use involve air rolling. So say the half flip into the recovery, I air roll with that left bumper, and it's way easier than trying to backflip and turn your car using that X button or whatever else, or square, whatever else it is on other systems. So especially air dribbling and flying through the air, you can use the swivel and boost at the same time. It's really easy that way. That is basically the only setting that I would really recommend for you guys. That in specific. Everything else is just kind of up to you, in all honesty. Just when you make your settings, very, very pay close attention, please, because if you guys map certain keybinds to an already mapped keybind, you're gonna have two I guess controls or inputs for that one button, and it might end up screwing you up, and you might think that something's broken or wrong with your game. So just pay attention to that, pay close attention to that. That is basically it for the tips and tricks, guys. If you want me to, I can make a more in-depth video and get actual clips from games and how I play with my 3s and 2s team, just so you guys have like a clear demonstration of what everything's supposed to look like. This is just a little more in depth to try to get you lower ranked guys a few tips and tricks here and there. And one last thing before I do go is I want to add in custom maps, and I mentioned this in the previous video. If you're on PC, you are very, very lucky in the sense that when you go down to training and you go over to custom training, you guys can download maps that people have made and certain courses that are very good for dribbling, air dribbling, whatever. You guys are very lucky in that sense. But even for Xbox and PS4, we have all of these packs. Now, each one is dedicated to certain mechanics, or maybe a ton of mechanics all together. So see, like you see right here, the ultimate warm-up created by Hanada. This one is practicing very high aerial shots into the goal. It's practicing dribbling, and it's going to be practicing some redirects as well. That is a very good pack right there when you get more advanced. And then if you don't feel like any of these are good for you, you go over into browse and you can scroll through a ton, and they'll all have their names: freestyle practice, air dribbles, wall and ground, aerial off wall. The ultimate warm-up is here as well. There are so many packs that you can choose from that will really, really help you out. And there are codes as well. So if you find a YouTuber that you really prefer that map pack, and if it's able to be inputted here, you can put that code in and then play on that map as well. And that is basically all the tips that I have for you guys right now. Like I said, if you wanted to see them more in action and more in the game, I could show you, and I could put some clips together and talk over it and explain what's happening, especially the rotation thing. Rotation is something that is easier to watch than for me to explain. So if you guys would like to see that, I am totally down for doing that video for you guys. With that, all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you are new, leave a like and subscribe. Check out my Twitch. I don't only show Rocket League, I play a ton of different games with my friends, and it is just a very good time. You get to see the raw footage of everything, how we all play, how we all talk shit on each other. It's a very fun time. So it's been Ty, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all later.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me.